Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Wednesday, May 19th, and I'm Blair Kirchhoff. For more than a year, interviews on this podcast occurred via a Zoom call or over a phone. The rare exceptions were when we talked to a fellow Star reporter or columnist sitting at least 6 feet apart. Today's podcast returns to the in-person interview, and I couldn't be more delighted. Missouri held its annual Tiger Takeover on Tuesday evening in Kansas City at N Pickle. That's up in North Kansas City. That's where coaches and administrators came to town to mingle with fans and get interviewed by the local media. Of course, events like this haven't happened since the pandemic shut down sports and shut in fans. Conversations, at least for the media, occurred only as on Zoom calls, as we said. So this felt great, and I hope it sounds okay. I think it will. You'll hear from Mizzou football coach Eli Drinkwitz, basketball coach Cuonzon Martin, and athletic director Jim Sterk. We spoke to each of them for a few minutes on various topics. You'll hear from Drinkwitz, you'll hear about some of the coaching staff moves that have occurred over the last couple of months. Martin talks about moving on from a team that was shaped around Jeremiah Tilmon and Drew Smith. And Sterk speaks to the issues in college football that he's had to consider that didn't exist a few years ago. Also, we asked about such things as vaccinations and name, image, and likeness. There were two others asking questions besides me. You'll hear star columnist Vahe Gregorian, and you'll also hear Dennis Dodd, the national college football writer for CBS Sports, who lives in town. It's always great to catch up with Dennis. And there'll be plenty of background noise as once or twice a server at N Pickle sees if we need anything to drink. So all good. Actually, it was all great. Chatting with the coaches and administrators outdoors, standing there with our recording devices in hand. So let's get started. First, you'll hear from Eli Drinkwitz, and then after a break, Cuonzon Martin, and then Jim Sterk.
How much more is on your plate as a coach, just with everything? COVID, NIL, one-time transfer. Is the average coach not an average coach?
Yeah, I don't think college football has ever been harder to manage a roster, manage player development. You're talking about things that are outside of our control as far as transfer portal and COVID, but social media, nobody's ever had to deal with the social media phenomenon and recruiting it the way it is. And so it's a handful, but you know what? That's what they pay us for,
right?
And that's the job. Yeah. So it's still the greatest job on earth. So
I want to ask you about having two former NFL head coaches on your staff. I can't imagine there's another staff that kind of...
There's one, Alabama. That's it.
They've had
they only
five.
Got two.
Yeah, they've got two.
They got two. We got two. So that's it. Not that I know that. Not that I knew that.
We talked to you about Steve Wilkes, but I don't think we talked about Scott.
Yeah.
What is? Tell me, what's his position going to be?
Yeah. So he's an offensive consultant. He's really. Yesterday him and I spent about 3 hours just watching red zone offense and working on how we can improve in the red zone. What are some ideas? He spent quite a bit of time with Coach Hamden watching third downs and really learning what we do and how can we make it better. And, giving me ideas and strategies of how we can really take Connor Bazelak's game to the next level and how we can improve Tyler Macon. And there's very specific rules about things that he can't do, but when you're a consultant, he can give us ideas and then we take it to the meeting room. And so, anytime you can get a guy who's got that many years of quarterback development, he's coached college football, NFL football, he's been a head coach. There's just times where you can bounce stuff off of him. He's giving me ideas about how to practice more efficiently, player development. It's just been really good. And then you combine that with Steve Wilkes, a guy who's been a head coach, a defensive coordinator. It's just been, for me, it's a little bit easier to lay your head on the pillow at night knowing that you're covered scheme-wise on both sides of the ball.
How far can those guys go? They can't recruit, Can they be? They cannot be on the field.
Yeah, they can be on the field at practice and take notes, and they can be in there and watch film with us. But they can't have direct instruction. Well, consultants can't have direct instruction. Steve's obviously our defense coordinator, so he has direct instruction, but can't have any direct instruction.
How is a consultant different from an analyst?
It's just a sexier name.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And how about while we're on the staff, just on Marcus's elevation to assistant head coach?
I think it's important to allow people to grow and develop into the roles that they want to be. And obviously one of Marcus's dreams is to become a head coach. And for me, I need somebody who can step in and handle things when I'm not around and have a voice and a say in the football team. And I thought his position last year performed at a really high level, and wanted to do something to tell him thank you for being here and thank you for coaching. And it was a way to promote him and help him grow and give him additional responsibilities and try to take some stuff off my plate.
How much do you think you wouldn't have probably drawn up the last year to be the year of making this transition, the last 14 months? On the other hand, though, I'm sure it accelerated some things, and even you as a coach, you look back at it as a year of what?
It's probably like having five years of head coaching experience in 9 months, just dealing with all the different things. But I wouldn't trade any of it. I learned a lot, still growing, still developing. Was able to stay true to some of the principles that I believe in and see those things come to fruition. We'll see.
Are you different in some way? I mean, maybe you always are, right? But I mean, are you different in some way for the experience of having to deal with it?
Yeah, I think you're always trying to grow, right? And experience is the best teacher. And so going through unique experiences helps either strengthen the philosophies that you had or cause you to call them to question and figure out what's new and what do I need to learn. And I think we're always trying to, learn. And I think I took a pretty good self-inventory from last year on what were the things we did really good, what are the things that I've got to fix, and what are more me-based things that I can do to help us win football games.
What'd you come up with?
Off the record. We got a new staff.
There you go.
I know. Hey, and I wonder if you can speak to this a little bit. I realize it's kind of delicate and maybe even complicated, but we got the opportunity now for everybody to have their vaccinations.
Yeah.
I assume you'd prefer your team to all have their vaccinations if you could, but I also assume you can't be heavy-handed. Can you speak to how you're trying to deal with that?
I just follow the science, No, there's really no right or wrong way to handle it. We encourage vaccination, but we also understand everybody has choices and decisions to make, and that's really a personal choice and a private choice. And whatever they choose, we'll support. 1 mask, 2 masks, vaccines, I don't know.
And do you try to appeal to a team to think about the team in that too, or you try to stay away from that? Because maybe it gets too much into the personal.
I think you try to show them what the benefits of the vaccine are, but you also respect people's individual decisions.
Yeah.
If you thought about, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you the name of Jim Sterk.
Oh,
You've spoken to it a few times, but it's full go. It's happening in Missouri, and unless something drastic changes in the next month or so, it's only going to be in 5 states for the time being. Maybe 6 or 7. I don't know where Arizona and New Mexico are.
I think it's 5. Tennessee doesn't go online. I think it's 5. Now 4 of them in the SEC.
Right.
And you guys are going to be online in August.
August 28th.
Right.
Yeah.
Thought about that?
Like Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about it. We've thought about it quite a bit. We had a phone call today with the upper levels of administration trying to chart out a path. And I think it's an opportunity for the University of Missouri and the state of Missouri to be on the forefront and push the envelope to see what we can possibly do to help our players, take advantage of this opportunity in time. Don't know what that's going to look like. Nobody really knows what that's going to look like. And so I think we get to chart a new course. But isn't that where the fun stuff happens? That's where the magic happens when you're out in front. And until there's national legislation, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for us to take advantage of it in a positive way. And that's what I'm going to encourage our players and push, for us to do is let's try to take advantage of it. And you never know, we might land a person on the moon or something,
Right. Is it easier, do you think, for somebody young like you than some coach set in their ways that's older going, I can't handle this? Everybody's going to have to. You seem to this or whatever.
Yeah, you got 1 or 2 choices. You
Right.
can either, act like it's not going to happen, or you can embrace it. And it's kind of like COVID last year. Like you can't control the uncontrollable, so you just got to kind of lean into it and see how it plays out.
Have you given thought to sitting across the table from some marketing reps someday going, my guy needs more on social, he needs to play more or something like that? That may be a gym thing, but
yeah, I mean, I think we have to be careful that we're, like I told our guys today, we want to give them the tools in the toolbox to be successful with using their name, image, and likeness. We don't want to be responsible for building the house. All right. And so we want to be able to train these guys. Hey, this is what you're going to be able to do. This is how you can do it. But they're going to have to be responsible for themselves because, I got 85 players, and I got to be careful on how we utilize each one.
Is this season, for the first time in a while, you're not going to be able to play through JT, and I'm just wondering how different that's going to be for you guys, and what's the idea there? Or are you still working on it?
Well, the thing about Jeremiah has a special place in my heart, one, because of where he come from, and then his growth from a young man into a man. Just a tremendous relationship. And just to see where he is right now, how his life changed, the maturity, and he's on pace to graduate in December. Probably not in August just because of training and all that, but definitely December. And I think for us, it's really opened the game up. We changed our pace this year, which I really enjoy. So now you improve your personnel from the standpoint of guys that can make plays off the dribble, better athleticism, more individual scores. So I really like where we are as a program. And that was something we wanted to do with Jeremiah on the floor. Open that thing up, he gets rebounds, set ball screens, dive to the rim. And I think that kind of changed us the latter part of the season when he missed those 2 games because he was big in that when he set ball screen, get to the rim and make plays. But I think with Jeremiah, we'll be able to open that thing up.
I've been asking a couple of people about this, and I wonder what approach you're trying to take to encouraging players to get vaccinated or not. How much you feel like you can say you should, or how much you feel like you got to walk a line. Just how you're doing that.
I just think, I've been vaccinated, so I can speak about me, and I think I would encourage our guys to get vaccinated because I think it's the right thing to do from a health standpoint. But I'm also respectful of each individual space, even though they prospect the student athletes. I still want to respect their space. I understand that. So those are things we'll talk to their parents about. I had one of our guys, an incoming freshman. His parents called me about making sure he get the test. So I think parents understand that. I would imagine how many years ago, same thing, getting the first flu shot. I mean, you have to do it. I think it helps me. I was a cancer diagnosis back in '97, so I'm taking that test, and I took my shots, and I'm good to go now. So I would encourage it, but it wouldn't stop me from playing a guy who didn't take the test.
Yeah, is it something you have to put a lot of thought into, or it's kind of like we just encourage it?
I think we've had each one of our guys, like all our returning guys, they took the test. Got both their shots in. So if we had a prospect that came on campus, I don't want to do it. What you try to do is you get them counseled, not necessarily for me as a coach, because I'm not a doctor. So you get the trainers and the medical team to say, here's the reason why you probably want to do it, and get his family involved. And if he's adamant about not taking it, he don't have to take it. I mean, it's not like I'll control his minutes whether or not he takes the test, because that's an individual decision.
There's a benefit to the team, but if he had 85% or something like that, where you guys would have to do lesser protocols?
I think so, as of right now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it will be determined how it goes with football. Then obviously, out to basketball. So I think that's what it is right now.
How much do you have to talk to your guys about name, image, and likeness, and how that's going to impact?
Well, we will talk to them about it because it'll pass all our guys off campus now. So when they get back June 7th, we will talk to them about it. Our administration will sit down and talk to them, help them understand. And more than anything, I think our administration has done a good job and will continue to do a good job to really help them market their brand. I think that is the biggest thing, because now you can profit off your brand. But I think the biggest thing and the plus for me with name, image, and likeness, if guys can create revenue, great. But also it helps that their social platform has to be sharp at all times. But sometimes you're tricky on your social platform, depending on what night of the hour it is, and then you post certain things. Well, if you market a brand, that's not the image you want to portray. So I think it's very helpful for me as a coach in doing that, because the things that you've been telling them for so long, now money's involved. Hopefully they'll understand I need to do what Coach said. So I think it'll be very helpful. But but the unknown is I don't know how it'll look. 12 months from now, 2 months, 2 years from now, I don't know how it'll look, because I like to think more than anything that if all student athletes can profit in some way, male and female. You don't want it to be a case where the star football player, star basketball player generate these level of revenues, and then your tennis sports or some of your women's sports not generating revenue. So, I think that's the issue that we have to get better at in college sports, and hopefully we can do better with that.
Are basketball coaches more used to the transfer environment, even with one-time transfer? Everybody's got it for the first time. But you know the numbers. 40% transfer for this more than football coaches, yes. I guess. They're kind of freaking out about this.
Well, I think for me, it's been great.
Yeah.
Because what happened, one, because I'm on the men's oversight committee, so I heard it at least a year or so you knew it was coming. So we were prepared from the standpoint of the staff that it wasn't something that you heard through the grapevine. It's coming. So how do you prepare for it? So when it hit, you look for the guys that you need. And with all due respect, it wasn't like the current guys we ran off the team. We didn't run them out. It wasn't that case. Those guys feel like they want to do something that was better for them. And so it's very helpful for us to get guys we feel like can really improve our team. And so it's worked out great for us. So today, I really enjoy the transfer portal. Today. Yeah.
Hey, I remember Ronnie DeGray's dad.
Yes.
He was a heck of a player. He played with Cuonzon.
Yes, he did.
In Colorado.
He did.
How do you see him?
Great addition. Great addition. You talking about a guy 6'7", 220 pounds in a slash, put the ball on the floor, shot 37, 38% from the three-point line, almost 9 points a game, almost 6 rebounds a game as a true freshman. So very, very excited to have Ryan DeGray. He's a guy, he's a workhorse, he competes, high character guy off the floor. So he brings a lot of things to our program, no doubt.
Do you know what the July calendar looks like?
Right now, the count, it goes to the board tomorrow. So they'll vote on it tomorrow officially. Now, kind of off the record, if it goes, you can hear me saying it, but we'll have 3 weekends in July. So 8th through the 11th, I think, whatever the next weekend is, 17th, whatever. So those 3 weekends in July, you'll have those. The last 3 weekends in July. And weekends are like 8th through the 11th, so like 4.5 days, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ash.
No,
Just everything you're saying just makes me think about how much things have changed in the last year and a half, 2 years of your life.
It's I think it's you have to stay ahead of the times. What I've always found when somebody says, when I was growing up, they said a guy was old school. What did that mean? Did it mean like when I was playing, they said the guy's old school? What did that really mean? You have to stay ahead of the times, So I think for me, the transfer portal is great. Name, image, and likeness, I think it's great because I was a former athlete. I just don't know how it'll look, and I'm not sure the NCAA and anybody really know how it'll look right now. Not to say they lack intelligence, but you just don't know until everything passes. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it now. What we have to all look out for, and whether coaches will say this part or not, I think what it's concerning probably for coaches, how would they look in your locker room? Like, for example, you have a Michael Porter Jr., who's probably a guy that can demand $100,000 from Mercedes-Benz company, whatever it is. Well, if he's in the locker room, some other guys want that too. And that guy can't command it, then now you might have friction within your locker room. It's not as if as a coach, I said Mercedes give Mike this. Because as coaches, we have no say in that. They market their own brand, so to speak. So I think that part will be very delicate, and that's something you have to work out, and you have to coach your team to understand. I didn't make Michael Porter; he made Michael Porter. And that's a real issue. So how do you do that? And how do you maintain a strong locker room and a strong culture? Yeah.
What's the state of the NIL bill in Missouri?
So it's passed the House and the Senate. It's sitting on the governor's desk.
That's right.
So he has until June 30th to sign it, I think, something like that.
Is it a July 1st implementation?
It's an August 28th. Okay. But it shouldn't impact, it shouldn't impact things very much. I told people it's kind of like the pandemic. You know something's happening, but you don't know where it's going to end, and so you got to make best decisions as you move forward. And so we teamed up with Open Doors. We targeted a trademark program, and 250 of our student athletes have signed up in there, and so they're getting analyzed as far as what the value of their social media content is and those kinds of things. But also help building their brand, and whether they monetize it as a student athlete, it'll help them as they're hired after they graduate. So we felt good about investing in that and creating a program for that as we move forward and take advantage.
How different is your job these days with that and everything else? I mean, it's not just NIL, transfer legislation.
I should have took with me. I found in my planner. I found graphs of spikes of when they thought the virus was going to decrease, and over the last year, and I go, I think, when did athletics directors start to look at pandemic graphs and understand what's going on and understand protocols for all of those things? And it's I'll tell you what, I've talked to colleagues. We had a meetings in Phoenix, and the 50-year-olds are going, well, the 40 or 45-year-olds are going, I don't know if I'm going past 50.
Right.
It's kind of worn everyone out, like that. And luckily, I have 3 daughters and a wife that's active, and I got a granddaughter now. So I feel like, okay, I've got energy and to continue. But it is, it's been an interesting, it's unlike any other time that you've had in your career.
You bring up a good point for somebody that's been in their job so long. Do you think this will impact guys, like you said?
I've noticed the people retire. I've noticed people retiring. Maybe more than normal. I don't know. We'll see after the end of the summer where it happened. But I know people are thinking about it because of that.
Jim, one of those. Go ahead, Blair.
No, just to stay on the NIL topic just for a second. 5 of the 6 or 7 states that are prepared to do it for this school year are in the SEC footprint. So I'm just wondering how much behind the scenes work was going on with the university and the legislature to look, or at least some communication. We've got to get this up and going.
Well, it was one. No one really. We really started looking at it in January, and we were getting information from the SEC and from our attorneys, also legislative folks of where they think Congress was. And so you really have entities, of the states, you've got Congress, you've got the NCAA, and then you got the Supreme Court ruling on the Alston case that it's not directly impacted, but it's going to have an impact on that. And so I think that's why the NCAA backed out of making a decision, and now they're talking about going back, and then the council said yesterday or whatever they weren't going to, and I don't know where it's going to go. So the SEC, I think, has been proactive that way and been on where do we need to be. And as we looked at it from Missouri, it was better to have a law that was consistent with our peers than not having a law. That's kind of where we fell, because the NCAA had removed themselves, so there wasn't going to be direction from the NCAA.
Speaking of that, of the NCAA removing itself, what is the NCAA right now? If
That's better to you right now.
Did you see Marco Rubio's comments today?
Right.
I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that.
He basically said he doesn't expect the congressional help. By the time they break on July 30th, and he kind of at that point.
That's kind of everyone said. Yeah, it's not.
But he said at that point, what is the NCAA really doing? Which a lot of people were thinking in their head. What do they really do?
Yeah. Yep.
I understand. Okay.
Jim, under the COVID aspect of your job, we've just been thinking about this a little bit lately. Like, okay, we're now getting to the point where the vaccinations are commonly available. Many who've wanted them have taken them. Where do you fit into philosophically what your athletes do? I mean, are you able to?
There's going to
nudge,
encourage.
What do you do?
There'll be encouragement, because more from the standpoint of if a team has 85%, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but 85% vaccinations, then they don't have to social, or they don't have the contact tracing after that. So
is that an SEC?
SEC. The task force is talking about that, and so they're trying to put some protocol, and they said obviously this could adjust and change and all that, but if it gives kind of incentive to get vaccinated for the fall, and so I think that's what we can do. We can educate, but at the end of the day, it's up to them and their families.
There won't be. You can't, I guess, and you wouldn't say if you're not vaccinated, you can't be on the team. I mean, you can't be that draconian.
Yeah, no, and until the way I understand it is, the state law would have to change and say, vaccinations like to require to go to school. You have to have a vaccination. I think the state would have to take a stance on that before we would be able to do that.
So really, I mean, I wouldn't say your hands are tied, but I mean, there's superseding elements that.
Oh yeah, as this has been through the whole thing, we've had to defer through, the CDC, local health officials, the university, and then the SEC. So we had all those things going on.
And maybe I hope this isn't more than you can say, but I mean, I assume you'd prefer people get it.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I felt like, and for me, I felt relieved.
I'm fine, you.
I felt relieved. Just that. Okay, that's a burden I don't have to worry about right now. Although I think there's merit in masking when the cold season. I always because in my job I'm shaking hands and doing all that. The cold season, I don't know. I may mask up. It might happen. Because just
like quarters inside.
Just think about yeah.
I know some people in this group who haven't had a cold in 18 months.
18 months. I told my wife.
Right. No, and usually I would have done that. Because I just see people and I shake hands and I may try to fist bump as much as I can.
Is that 85% thing for the SEC? Is that out there, or I haven't heard?
That's a great question, Nick. Is the 85% out there as far as it is?
I think.
Yeah.
It's part of the SEC updates their medical policies about every week, it seems.
And it's just for contact tracing. It's not for mask.
Yeah, there is a mask element of that too.
Okay. We come to you for the important stuff.
Yeah. The scientific stuff. Because
that falls under your job description.
Yeah, sure.
That's going to do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff of Derek Donovan, Beth Welsh, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. Links to stories about the University of Missouri and this event can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. Hey, we got another deal for you. You can subscribe to Sports Pass for 99 cents a month. That's right, 99 pennies a month. Sports Pass is the online version of the Star Sports section. You get all the stories that appear in the print editions of the Star, plus more that appear only on the website. And of course, they all appear first on kansascity.com. So after 3 months, it auto-renews at $5.99 a month unless you cancel. And what a great time to subscribe. Read about what's going on with the Chiefs, Royals, the colleges, our soccer teams, and more. How do you get this? You go to kansascity.com/sportspass2020. That's kansascity.com/sportspass2020. Do you want more than just sports coverage? Check out the entire Kansas City Star product. Sports news, features, commentary, and analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional national news, sports, and business coverage with the e-edition. The details for all of these deals can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And if you're having trouble hunting down any of the offers, send me an email. I'm at bkirkhoff@kcstar.com. I'll get you to the right place. So whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting and supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Really appreciate you listening. We'll be back on Thursday with another episode.